since day one.
Hi, I'm Coach Mia, and welcome to another amazing show. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing a very special lady I've known for many years. She is one of our producers of the Glow 365 TV show, our very own evangelist, Laquana Glasser, aka Lady Q. Our topic today is what's in your purse. Oftentimes, we carry so many things in our purse, and over time, it gets to start to weigh us down. Now, if we look at ourselves and the baggage that we're carrying within us every day, it starts to affect our mental wellness. On today's show, Lady Q will share how to release those baggage. Hey, Lady Q.
Hey Mia, how are you?
I'm doing good. A long time no see. I know you've been busy with school and everything, and I'm glad to have you back on and, just talk about, your upcoming event. But I want to remind everyone, don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube at Official KO Magazine. There you can watch all our current and previous shows. But first, let's take a break. And when we return, we will chat with Lady Q on how Pink and Pearls of Pre 360 and Sisters of Faith Woman Ministry started. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
It's your girl, Lady Q. And I would love to invite you to What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. The date is August 12th through the 14th, and we're going to get together and we're going to release the baggage that we have been carrying. And I need you to go register. Register for the conference at www.wip22.eventbrite.com. Grab your mom, your sister, your cousin, your friend, your next door neighbor, your co-worker, and bring them with you August 12th through the 14th for What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. And I cannot wait to see you there.
Yes, I am looking forward to that. Again, today, our guest is no stranger to Glow. She is an evangelist, founder of Pink and Pearls, founder of Sisters of Faith Women's Ministry, founder of What's in Your Purse. She's KO Magazine's soulful journalist, a creator, an artist. She's a poet. She's also KO Magazine's Woman of Culture 365 USA ambassador. She's our producer, host of the Glow 365 TV show, and so much more. It'll take months just to kind of share all the work this woman is doing. I thought I was the hardest working woman, you know, here in this Caribbean community, but girl,
That's a lot. Like, I don't like to discuss me, but that's a lot. That's what others see. I don't never myself that.
so anyway, let's talk about you just a little bit. For those that don't know who Lady Q is, what three words would describe you and why?
Wow. Um, I would say the three words to describe me would be hmm would be one that's a I know this is more of a sentence determination. Determination would be one of the words that describe me. And the reason why I say determination is that when the Lord gives me a vision or I have a goal that's ahead of me, there's nothing that really stands in the way of me to be able to get to that goal. It would only be God to say, okay, this is not my plan. But once I have a goal in mind, I'm determined to get to that goal. Another word that I would say to describe me would when God has given me something that rests inside of me and I know that it's come from God, there's a boldness about me that will move forward in that. A lot of the times I'm teased by my children because there was a lady that said that when she looked at me in the spirit, she saw a battle axe, which means that I am a warrior. God uses me in places of war. So in essence, that's the boldness, that warrior type boldness inside of me. And another word to describe me, I would say, is compassionate, because I have a tendency of considering everyone. Yes, I may be determined, and yes, I may be bold, but I always take into consideration those that are around me, those that I encounter, and the things that's being presented before me. So it's not just me. I also have to consider those that are around me as well. So determined, bold, and compassionate.
I totally agree with those words right there. There may be a few others like probably mentioned, but hey, but as we're talking about this whole baggage and stuff. I want to um, go back a couple years before who you are now. You've overcome so many challenges in your life. When was that moment that you had to check your gut? That feeling where something is not right and I need to shift in a different direction, to where you decided, I want to become an evangelist? Or was that your dream to become an evangelist?
It definitely was not my dream to become an evangelist. I was the person that was in the background that did all the planning, that could put together an event. It's natural for me to be a coordinator and a planner of a party. I did wedding coordination, and so in church, I put together a lot of events. And so in putting together those events, I was used to work in the background. It was at a moment, a transition in my life and moving to Florida, that when I moved to Florida, what ended up happening is I went through a transition with God. I went through a transition with God to be so connected with the Lord, that it is then that God began to speak to me and tell me that I was an evangelist. And so, with that being said, I became an evangelist, but again, it was not anything that I, in essence, wanted to do. I was running. I ran from God for a long time. I ran from what God would have wanted me to do. I ran when I heard his voice, because I felt like there's no way, Lord, that you would have me up front being an evangelist. I'm used to being in the background. And so, even though God spoke to me, it took me to go through certain things in life. And then my pastor confirming that God has called me into evangelism. And so when the pastor called and said, "Look, this is the call that's placed on your life," it was a confirmation for me that caused me to move forward. And so, with that being said, that's how I stepped into evangelism. So, no, it wasn't anything I wanted to do, but God. So when God answered and Pastor confirmed it, I said, okay, I'll do it. Because I had been through a lot of life transformations, and so it was in that moment that I said, God, I want uh, uh, uh the naked relationship with you. I want to be able to do what you want me to do. I'm tired of living my life the way I plan for. So God, what is your will for my life? So when I asked God what was his will for my life, that is where the shift happened.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. Sometimes we have to pay attention to Him because truly believe that our destiny is already planned. Sometimes we see the signs and the
Right,
direction that we need to go, and then there's sometimes we like slide off to the left, and it's like, he tries to pull you right back. Like, come on, I'm trying to tell you. So I
right,
definitely understand that from, after surviving, breast cancer, and, this is my path. I felt that I was supposed to be on. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And
right,
that was a wake up call to, whatever I was going on in my life. Like, look here, you're not listening. So, you know, maybe, me having breast cancer, maybe, allow me to see a different side of everything and, start appreciating something different. Um,
right.
and, both of us, I'm a preacher's child. So, and stubborn, but hey, I'm listening now. Okay. So
Obedience
now,
is better than sacrifice.
yep, definitely. So now you go from an evangelist to now you
Hmm.
created Sisters of Faith Women's Ministry in 2015, with the purpose of helping women like yourself overcome, brokenness. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would say that Sisters of Faith started around 2010, and it wasn't established until 2015 because I was running. Um, I love what's in my heart, and what's been in my heart is to help people. And ever since I was a child, my friends would come to me and talk to me about whatever was going on. They would ask my advice. And so over time, and looking over my life and my past, and realizing that I had been through a lot of traumatic things, God began to reveal to me that my testimony would be the ministry that I would walk in, and that would help women. At the time, God said, you're going to help these women that are dealing with brokenness, that are dealing with trauma, such as anxiety, fear, molestation, all types of trauma, childhood trauma, adult trauma, relationship trauma, just based off of all that I had been through, that would be my testimony to help women come out of their situation. And even when God said that to me then, I still ran, because I wasn't one that had a lot of female friends, and I didn't understand how God would have me minister to women at that time, because I had more male friends, and I spent a lot of time by myself. But over time, and having to be sacrificed before, because of my lack of obedience, of because I was running from God, it became very clear over time that this is what God would call me to do. And when I took a step back and sat down and said, okay, Sisters of Faith, helping women with brokenness, Lord, how do I do that? How do I really do that for someone that's not really surrounded by a lot of women? And what I didn't realize and come to find out is that a lot of what I had dealt with, I found myself even encountering women that were much older than me, women that were my elders, um, that had experienced what I had experienced, but yet had no healing, had no breakthrough, had no deliverance from any of those things. They were still walking around holding on to things that happened to them that their own family didn't know. And it was then that I realized, Lord, this is much greater than what I thought it was. So, with that
Mhm.
being said, I really became obedient and said, okay, Sisters of Faith, to do what God would call me to do, to bring women out of brokenness, I'll do that.
And you're truly doing some amazing work with Sisters of Faith, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later with your upcoming event. But now I want to move forward from Sisters of Faith to, you started Pink 360, and then later it shifted to Pink and Pearls. For those that don't know, I know why, but those that don't know why, it
Right,
started off as Pink 60 to now Pink and Pearls.
right. Um, it was Pink 360 initially. I had a great aunt who, when I was very young, had breast cancer, and years later, her cancer came back as brain cancer, and it metastasized throughout her body. And so, at the time that she was in the hospital and things of that nature, when the cancer came back, and she was literally fading away, what ended up happening is when I would go in, she would say, "You're so beautiful, you could be a model." And it had got to a point where she couldn't remember my name, but she would always say to me, "You're so beautiful, you could be a model." And it wasn't until years later that I had a very vivid dream of these pink balloons. Everything was pink, and it took me to that space of her telling me, "You're so beautiful, you could be a model." And I could hear that in a dream. And I woke up writing down all of these things. And so, what it did, it took me, in essence, it took me in a full circle experience. So, this is where the Pink 360 came from, the full circle experience of my great aunt saying this to me as a child through my teenage years, my adult years, and even being on her deathbed, said this to me. And so this is where Pink 360 started from. It transitioned from Pink 360 to Pink and Pearls because my grandmother, which is, this was her sister that I was previously talking about. My grandmother ended up with lung cancer some years ago. And so the transition from Pink 360 to Pink and Pearls was to connect the pieces between two sisters. So the pink stands for the great aunt who had cancer, and then the pearl stand for my grandmother, because for lung cancer, the color for lung cancer is pearl white. So those two connections bring together the pink and pearls for that particular organization. So now we're, instead of dealing with just breast cancer, we also look at the lung cancer. But it was the connection between aunt and my grandmother, which were sisters.
That's awesome. And I know in 2000, was it 19 or 20? We actually did a
Correct.
tribute. She was supposed to be one of the honorees, but the Lord had, you know, um, other plans for her.
Yeah.
But she's still one of our, honorary members of Ribbons of Survivors. We paid tribute to her, which was really nice. And I know you shared a little bit about her and stuff. She was just, a beautiful individual. And I wish I had the
Yes.
opportunity to meet her and stuff. I know she had the nickname. Was it Big Mama?
The nickname was Big Mama because she
Yeah.
was a great grandmother. So when she became a great grandmother, we just transitioned from grandma to Big Mama, and everybody ended up calling her that. But even from that, she got the name Big Mama from her grandmother, who they called Big
Mhm.
Mama. So she was an amazing lady. She was
Yeah.
89, lived a full life, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we know she definitely inspired, you know, many of you, throughout the family and stuff. That legacy will still live on with her
Yeah,
memories. Hmm.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now let's take a quick break, and when we come back, Coach Lady Q is going to give us some answers on why we hold on to so many baggage within us, and why is it important to release them. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
It's your girl, Lady Q. And I would love to invite you to What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. The date is August 12th through the 14th, and we're going to get together and we're going to release the baggage that we have been carrying. And I need you to go register. Register for the conference at www.wiyp22.eventbrite.com. Grab your mom, your sister, your cousin, your friend, your next door neighbor, your co-worker, and bring them with you August 12th through the 14th for What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. And I cannot wait to see you there.
So coming up this Friday is the second annual What's in Your Purse event, from Friday, August the 12th through the 14th. Now, Lady Q, why the title What's in Your Purse? And I say this because I was sharing, with a friend of mine about the event, and, she responded like, okay, why does she need to know what's in my purse? Or is she going to be looking in my purse to see what's in there? And I was like, no, no, no. It's a metaphor for something bigger than what's in our purse. So for those that, watching all this and you see all the bags and everything, please explain the title, why you came up with the title and the purpose behind it.
What's in your purse is actually a rhetorical question. So a few years ago, I was really going through some heavy things. And so I was in the kitchen cooking and I hear the voice of God say, "What's in your purse?" And I'm looking around like, "Okay, Lord, what do you mean what's in my purse?" And he says, "What are you carrying? What is the baggage that you've been carrying that's holding you down?" And it took me to Genesis, where God spoke to Adam and Eve after they sinned, and they recognized that they were naked and they were hiding from God. And God asked the question, "Where are you?" Now, God, being an omniscient and omnipresent God, knew where Adam and Eve was. So the question wasn't for him. They didn't have to say, "Hey, God, here I am." What God was saying is, "Where are you? Do you know where you are in your people? What is the baggage that you are carrying? Do you know the baggage that is inside of you and the baggage that you're carrying?" Oftentimes we have baggage inside of us and we don't realize the depth or magnitude. And so I also use in a lot of the videos that I've done where I talk about our spouses and children and friends and people giving us things that we put inside our purse. And then when we go to clean that purse out, like, we dig deep down inside, and sometimes we pull out a receipt and we're trying to figure out, like, wait a minute, where did this receipt come from? How long has this been there? And a lot of times that receipt is worn off, and we don't know all the details of the receipt. And then we catch a glimpse of that receipt, right? And when we catch a glimpse of that receipt, we realize, well, wait a minute. And it takes us back to a time, a place, a moment. Oftentimes that's like the baggage that we carry. We carry all of this baggage within us. That baggage get heavy just like a purse gets heavy when we carry it so long with so much stuff weighed inside of it. And so, with that being said, do we know the baggage that we're carrying? Are we willing to dig deep? Just like that receipt that I've had to dig deep for. Are we willing to dig deep to pull that out? Are we willing to say, "God, I'm ready for you to release me from all of these things. I'm ready to let go of the baggage that I've been carrying"? And so, yes, it's a rhetorical question that says, do you know the baggage that you're carrying within inside of you? The fear, the anxiety, the childhood trauma that you've been through, that some of us deal with some forms of forgetting what that trauma is, and don't realize why we are dealing with certain things in relationships, and that's linked to that childhood trauma. There's something that I went through in my life where what I would do every night, I had to make sure all the doors was closed. Every door, closet, bathroom door had to be closed, but it was linked to childhood trauma, and I didn't know that. So learning that that was linked to the childhood trauma, it released me. Like I could not go to sleep if the door was closed. If somebody opened up a door, it would wake me up. If there was a shift in the room, it would wake me up. I stayed up all night, and me staying up all night was actually linked to me being molested, because when I was molested, it happened to me at night. And so, in dealing with the baggage that I had been carrying, after I realized, and after going through therapy, realizing that this is what this was linked to, believe it or not, it changed my sleeping habits. I went from literally staying up all night and going to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning to not being up all night, going to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now I'm able to go to bed earlier because no longer am I walking around weighed down by something that I had no idea was there. So when I talk about what's in your purse, do you know what's holding you down? So it's just
Yeah.
interesting.
As you say that, let's talk about past baggage. Many of us are still having trouble letting go of the pain or the unpleasant emotions about their past, childhood trauma, because we think those feelings are a part of identity, which makes it impossible to let go. Now, how do we manage our own baggage to elevate to the next level of mental wellness?
Whew. I would say multiple things. Number one, first and foremost, is prayer. The first thing that I did when I realized that I had all of this baggage, when the Lord asked me that question standing in my kitchen, was I went into prayer and I asked God to reveal to me what the baggage was that I was carrying. So I started to go on these many wellness, I would call getaways, once a month, where I would evaluate the things that bothered me, the things that hurt me, the things that I had fear from, the things that gave me anxiety. And I began to pray about all of those things for God to remove that. Because one of the things that Mia, you could attest to, I would always tell people I was shy. I would tell everybody I was shy and I was scared to talk to people. And so that was one of the things that I put on my list, shyness. And so I began to pray and ask the Lord to reveal, why do I have this fear? Why is this anxiety there? Why am I shy? Believe it or not. And through that process, I then went into therapy. And I'm not opposed. I'm Christian all day long. I'm an evangelist all day long, and I am not opposed to therapy. Therapy is good for opening up some things that we may not see inside of ourselves, because oftentimes we won't take the information from family and friends that are around us. And sometimes God is even showing us, but we're too stubborn to even pay attention. And so me going into therapy allowed these things. There were so many things that I didn't even know was there, that when the therapist began to reveal, these are the things that you are holding on to, or these are why you are acting this way, or these are why you're dealing this is why you're dealing with these fears. I could specifically pray for those things, asking God to heal me, to remove, to release me from those things. And then there were things, definitely, it was just me and God. There's just some things that I knew was there that I said, okay, God, this is the issue. I knew why it was there. And Lord, I need you to just release me from it. So, most importantly, was prayer and studying my word, looking at how God sees me and not how people see me and what people have had to say about me. Because also, judgment is a big thing when it comes to baggage, or what we assume people are saying about us. Is also a big thing. And so I asked God to just release me from the thoughts of people and what I think people are thinking about me. And so prayer, studying my word, meditation, because you have to sit still to hear the voice of God
Mhm.
and to get an answer, or even for him to reveal, and therapy. And when therapy came, than being able to lay, I would say, on the altar. Lord, these are all my issues. So Lord, I need you to take it. And that's just real. And in that process, in those monthly wellness getaways, it allowed me to process all of this baggage to be able to let it go.
I definitely agree. Just listening to what you were saying, that back in May we did the show on mental health, and don't realize that mental illness is another baggage, because we have all these thoughts of
Yes.
suicide to trying to commit suicide, and we're trying to cope with whatever fears and trauma we're going through and stuff. And for me, that was one baggage that was inside of me, that I had to seek help. And it was my fear of dying from after being diagnosed with cancer. And even till this day, I still deal with, mental illness because I have ongoing conditions, but I found a way to cope through it. But yeah, sometimes it's
Right.
hard to get rid of that baggage, you know, um, with it. And, yeah, prayer and meditation and all that truly, helps us, get to that place where we can cope and, be at peace and everything. Now,
Right.
I want to talk about one of my favorite. I know we were laughing about this earlier, which is the food baggage. In regards to, our nutrition, oftentimes, we consume unhealthy foods that temporary boost our, uh, um, what do you call it? Dopamine. It's a chemical,
Yes.
a happy chemical. Now, you being a
Yeah.
foodie, have you experienced any food baggage when dealing with stress and anything that you're going through? Because I know we have that moment where we pig out in food, we're stressed out, we're worrying about this, that, and whatever. Do you ever experience that food baggage?
Absolutely. Um Food baggage for me. Listen, I'm a foodie. I love to eat. So I like to eat when I'm happy. I like to eat when I'm stressed. I like to eat if I'm crying. Um, and for me at the same time, it's on opposite ends. Like I'll eat, and then I'll have these moments. I'll have these moments where I won't eat. But food baggage, absolutely. I've dealt with having to carry stress of eating, and then on top of that, loving to eat is like a double thing for me. It's like double baggage. I love to eat.
Mhm.
I don't need that, and now I'm stressed out and I'm eating more of that. Yes, it happens to me quite often. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to work it out in my humanness. Um, I have found that every once in a while I'll eat a whole pint of ice cream. I know I shouldn't at 12 o'clock at night, but I do. I do. So, but one of the things that I do look at, these are to be really serious. One of the things that I do look at is that when I find myself in this space of um of food cravings, because this is one of the things that a lot of us don't understand, and I know we was talking about it earlier and laughing about it. Food
Mhm.
cravings. When I find myself craving something all the time, because this is part of it, part of the food baggage that we deal with. I am craving
Mhm.
something all of the time. Most of the time, the thing that I'm craving, most of the time, the thing that I'm craving is not healthy. Is not what I should be eating. So I go and do the research of why I am craving that. And so, something that I shared with you earlier, when I was
Mhm.
pregnant with my 9-year old and I didn't drink, this was years after I quit drinking. I was craving a rum and coke and could not for the life of me. I'm going to my husband like, I'm having this craving for rum and coke. I don't
Mhm.
understand because I don't drink. like I'm in church. I'm a woman of God. Why am I craving? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, the devil is a liar. I went through the whole, there ain't nothing but the devil. And then I said, well, wait a minute. I really need to look at what the issue is. And so my husband actually did the research and he came back to me and said, actually, what your body is missing is lycopene. Now, lycopene is in tomatoes and watermelon in an abundance. So he
Mm-hmm.
went out and bought watermelon, and I'm not a watermelon person. So I don't fall under the statistics of watermelon. So I'm not a watermelon person, and I didn't like tomatoes. But I ate a whole watermelon, killed, demolished an entire watermelon. And that craving
Mm-hmm.
that I had went straight out the window. And so that is when I actually realized that the cravings that I deal with, I need to research because a lot of times it's the body. Our body is smarter than we are. It's
Yeah.
the body telling me, wait a minute, you lacking something. And what it is, our body will tell us, our tongue tell us it's one thing because this is what we're used to eating, when the body is saying no, you're lacking something else. Like some people will eat potato chips, they want to eat junk food, stuff that's full of salt. Well, what the
Mm-hmm.
body is telling you is that you need some sodium. So somebody like me, for instance, who has low sodium, when I need to eat like a granola bar that has the right amount of sodium in it, sometimes I'm gonna go eat them potato chips because my tongue say potato chips, but my body is saying you need sodium. And so,
Mm-hmm.
in essence, there's going to be a response. If I'm eating the wrong type of item, now I got to deal with a whole nother issue because it was the wrong type of item that had too much sodium in it versus the right item that's healthy, that has the right amount of sodium in it. So part of the food baggage that a lot of us carry is we have these cravings, but we don't know why we crave them. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to eat it because I crave it. You're craving chocolate. For people, chocolate, it is a restore for the body, but it also
Mhm.
causes you to crave water, so you may be dehydrated. Now, if
Yeah.
you're a female, it's that time of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if you are dealing with that, that's different. But like just regular cravings and you find yourself craving something all the time, do the research and find out like what is this craving for? And a lot of times it will actually release you from the food baggage because then you'll be looking at healthy choices and not the junk food choices.
Yep. I mean, our body, really
Yeah.
tells us what we need and what we don't need. You ever go and, you eat something and then all of a sudden you start get a belly ache and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have ate that, but you were craving it, but you shouldn't
No.
have ate it. And that's our body telling you, it's like, I told you not to eat it. This is now you
Right.
got what you got to deal with, running in the bathroom, staying in there and getting it all
And
out.
now you stuck. Now you got a whole nother issue.
So we talked about the food baggage. Now this is a big
Hmm.
one, the judgment
Okay.
baggage. Would you say this is one of the biggest one? And also, is there any other baggage we haven't touched on?
I would say the judgment slash fear of judgment baggage because they go hand in hand. Oftentimes when a person has gone through certain things in their life, and let's say you've had childhood trauma issues, you had mother wounds and daddy wounds, and a lot of times
Mhm.
people don't talk about mother wounds because the fear of hurting mom. Quickly we'll talk about daddy wounds because we used to dads not being present, right? So what ends up happening to people is they're scared of what someone is going to think of them. They're scared that if they tell their story, their testimony. Understand it is your testimony that releases you. And the enemy would have you to think that no, don't open up your mouth, because if you open up your mouth, this person is going to look at you
Mhm.
this way, this person is going to treat you that way. And so then fear sets in, because
Mhm.
that's really where it's coming from. Fear of being judged and the assumption of what people are going to say. What if your testimony releases you, but also releases someone else? And so if you allow judgment to get in the way, your fear of being judged to get in the way, then that causes a problem.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think a lot of us they
Jesus.
struggle with that judgment that we can't let it go, because we're worrying about what people are thinking, how they're looking at you, and rather than just move on, who cares?
The devil is a liar.
Yep. Now, with all that we go through with all these baggages.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Mhm.
Um, Listen, let me tell you something. And I know this is not in the what's the name. Let me say this. The enemy is so mad. Is so mad at what God has placed in me to bring forward. This is the first time that I have been on the show, and I have so many issues with interruption. I have never had an issue. And so this is another reason why I know that what God has placed in me needs to go forward. There are so many people out there that is dealing with so much trauma, so much baggage. One of the
Mhm.
things that you asked is what other ways, what other places of baggage that people carry outside of food baggage and the what's in your purse. People are dealing with childhood trauma issues,
Mhm.
relationship issues, father wounds I mentioned earlier, mother
Mhm.
wounds I mentioned earlier. And mother wounds is actually a big one. And the reason why I say it's a big one, because it's the one that a lot of us don't talk about. And it's not, again, this right here is not to tear down a mother or a father. This is the experience of the person and what they experience, because where that mother or their father was then doesn't mean that's where they are now. But even though that parent is not there now, this is the one of the biggest areas that people have an issue with: the fear of judgment. Another areas of baggage is anxiety, depression,
Mhm.
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mhm.
For instance, if you've been in the military, I am a veteran. So being a veteran and a first responder in 9/11, that's baggage, because having to remember what happened during that time and the people that I encountered during that time is another form of baggage. We already
Mhm.
mentioned the food baggage, and the list can go on and on, because
Yeah.
everybody's baggage is not the same, but we
Mhm.
all deal with some form of baggage and something that God is saying, listen, my child, it's time for you to be released from that baggage. Let me take care of it, because we're not supposed to carry it. We're supposed to
Yeah.
give it to God.
Mhm. Do you ever think that sometimes we need to just stop and take inventory of some of the baggages that we're carrying within? Because I know we get so consumed with our daily routine and taking care of this person and that person and work thing that one point we crash, get overloaded, just to let go a little at a time. It's like, okay, I got all this baggage here sitting here, you know, let me take a little bit load off until you don't have none. But I don't think we take the time to do that. We have to do that self
No,
inventory every now and then.
I do believe in the self inventory. Again, when I spoke about leaving and taking wellness days once a month,
Mhm.
I took what most would call a wellness day, and it was really what I would do once a month for 2 days on the weekend. Preferably I would leave and I would go be by myself, just me and God. and I would
Mhm.
inventory my entire life for that month. I God gave me a process that I do that I call sticky planning, and it was part of my process to inventory. This is what's going on. What goals have I worked towards? Where have I been successful? What's there now? And that was monthly, but even daily, I would do journaling. I would wake up every morning, and I've gotten away from this. Um, but I would wake up every morning and I would write whatever was on my mind for the first 15 minutes. I would just, it's all like data dumping everything out. This way that I could start my day with clarity. A lot of times we wake
Mhm.
up with all of these thoughts on our mind. I got to do this.
Mhm.
I have to do that. I need to do this. I need to do that. So those first 15 minutes, and there was mornings where I was writing for 30 minutes or longer, where I would write everything. Nothing wasn't necessarily in order. It was every thought that came to my head within that 15-minute period that I would begin to write. And whether it was I had laundry to do, I had somewhere to go that day, it didn't matter.
Mhm.
Whatever the thought was, I wrote it down. When I got finished writing and closed my journal, I had clarity for the
Yeah.
day. It allowed me to even be in a better mental space, a better emotional space, that I was
Mhm.
able, not going through the day saying, okay, I need to do this. Did I do that? I need to do this. I'm not sure if I did that. Did I take care of this? Did my
Mhm.
husband have this? Did the kids have that? Did I make that phone call I was supposed to make? I had already wrote everything down and got it already out of my head. So now my day was clear, that at the end of the night, I would look back and say, okay, what was I able to accomplish and what do I need to work on to be better? And that was a daily mental process that I've done, that it
Mhm.
became second nature, that when I woke up, now I go through all the things, and then I have clarity by sitting still
Mhm.
long enough saying, okay, these are all the things mentally. Now I have clarity. Now I can function throughout my day. And at the end of the night, I'm resting saying, okay, what is it that I didn't do? What could I have done better? Even how could I have engaged my children, or my family better than I did today? So tomorrow, let's work on that. Even for myself, were there things that I needed to do for me that maybe I didn't engage me fully? That when I pray at the end of the night, I take all of that I didn't did
Mhm.
inventory on, and I give it to God and I pray about it and I ask the Lord, help me in these areas. Help me to be better in these areas. And Lord, reveal to me what I'm not seeing so I can be better. So at the end of the night, that's my self-reflection, my self-inventory. That once I go through the inventory, okay, God, I'm praying, I'm asking for help. I
Mhm.
need you to help me. I'm gonna trust you for it, and what I already know I need to do, Lord, just give me the strength to be able to do it. And it's that simple. But I, again, once a month, it's almost like a data dump. And
Yeah.
prioritize everything I need to prioritize. It's a work, it's a conscious
Mhm.
work, that and an intentional work that we have to do to let go of the baggage, because we are constantly working. And some people think, oh, I don't let it go. Or for instance, I don't went to a conference and the Lord and took it and I don't have to worry about it no more. No, it is a consistent daily
Mhm.
work that we have to do.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. It's definitely, a routine. One of the things that Lenny has, taught me to um, routinely, meditate, before you go to bed, to just clear, everything that has gone on through the day so that you can have a peaceful night. And then in the morning, before you even do anything, do another meditation, to, again, to quiet the mind and, seek wisdom and,
Right.
clarify what things that you need to accomplish today. And it has worked for me. Meditation is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Prayer is a wonderful thing. um, we need that every now and then. Just have to pause sometimes and just say, hey, let me just take a moment for silence to regroup.
Right. Well, I mean, We need to pray truly daily, pray daily, and meditate daily. You know, in this life, we can do nothing without God. Without God, we can't do anything, and it's because of God that we are here. So, daily for me is prayer and meditating, praying and said, "Okay, God, these are all the things. You know, these are who I need to pray for. You know, at the end of the day, Lord, show me what I'm supposed to do." And then here comes the meditation, bringing me clarity. Also, at the same
Mhm.
time, meditating on the goodness of God, where God has already
Yeah.
revealed things and doors that He's even closed. Sometimes we need to learn to be grateful that God closed that door because He was prepared, He was protecting us from something that we didn't know that was before us. So being able to sit still and know that He is God is important in that process.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break. And when we return, Lady Q will share some more self care tips. And also, is prayer part of self care? We'll be back in 60 seconds.
It's your girl, Lady Q, and I would love to invite you to What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. The date is August 12th through the 14th, and we're going to get together and we're going to release the baggage that we have been carrying. And I need you to go register. Register for the conference at www.wip22.eventbrite.com. Grab your mom, your sister, your cousin, your friend, your next door neighbor, your co-worker, and bring them with you August 12th through the 14th for What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. And I cannot wait to see you there.
Welcome back. You know, we were just talking with Coach Lady Q about releasing the baggage, that we carry around day to day, and how to release it and let it go. Now, we're talking about self care. Now, you mentioned some of the things that you do for self care, but when we talk about
Mhm.
prayer, do you think prayer is a part of self care?
Um, I don't really. Everybody may not agree with me here. It just all depends on each person's belief system or for them. But for me personally, I don't see it as self care, and this is why I don't see it as self care. When I pray, I'm asking God what's His will for my life. What
Hmm.
I may consider self care may be one thing, but in prayer, I'm not asking God to do what I want him to do for me the way that I want him to do it for me, to take care of my mental status or to take care of my emotionalism or to just take care of all my things. What I do is I'm asking God, Lord, what is your will for my life? Am I walking in alignment for you? Am I doing what you've called me to do? Am I walking in the way that you called me to walk in? Because what we also have to understand that when we walk in Christ and we go to him in prayer, there are some very key things, especially in ministry, that we have to be aware of. And that's perseverance, endurance, and long suffering. Understanding that I'm going to go through some things. Long suffering makes it obvious I'm going to deal with some things. That means baggage is going to come, issues going to come, uh, uh, things that may even weigh heavy on me that may mess with me as far as emotionally. But do I trust God enough to know that the Lord is going to take care of it? Do I trust Him enough to know that I don't have to worry about the situation or the issue? So at the end of the day, am I going to endure? Do I have the perseverance to keep going through this thing? Because the word also tells us is that the race is not given to the swift, but those that endure to the end, which means I'm going to go through some things. So when I go into prayer, I don't think about God, take care take care of my self-awareness. What I do is, okay, Lord, what am I supposed to do for you? What is it that you've designed me for? Because understand, a lot of things that God has called me to do was not what I was necessarily in agreement to. I became obedient in the process, because another thing that we have to have is humility. So I don't see prayer as self care, but I do see that God takes care of us. He takes care of every need that we have. He takes care of everything that we desire when our desire is in alignment with what He has for our life. Because scripture also says that our plans are not His plans, our ways are not His ways. So if our plans and our ways is not His plans or His ways, I don't see prayer as a form of self care. Now, can prayer sustain me when I'm going through a rough time? Absolutely, because it's not me. It is God that's sustaining me. It's God that's carrying me. It's God that's protecting me. It's God that's removing certain things that need to be removed and uprooting certain things that need to be uprooted. It is God that is delivering me out of this situation. So I don't see it as self care. I just see it as trusting God and what He's going to do for my life. And so when God does whatever He does, and even if God says no, because I can go to God and say, Lord, I need you to do this because this will take care of me. And when the Lord say no, I have to be okay with that and say, okay, Lord, you said no, and you said no for a reason. So it's not about my self care, it's about His will for my life.
Definitely. Now, this weekend, starting August 14th, August 12th to the 14th, your event, What's in Your Purse. Can you share a little bit about what some of the participants can look forward to at this event?
Well, what's in your purse is August, like you said, August 12th through the 14th. It's Friday at 7, Saturday at 7, and Sunday at 5 o'clock at Divine Remnant of Truth. The address is 1725 South Volusia Avenue, Orange City, Florida. What the individuals are going to experience when they come. The first night, which is Friday night, we have our sister, Minister Chastity Smith from Temple of Faith. Absolutely an amazing sister, a woman of power, truly a woman of God. That I've had an opportunity to know for some time, and just to watch her, and she doesn't know this. I admire her gentleness. I admire her quiet spirit. I admire just the class that she has as a woman of God. So she's going to mount the pulpit and is going to take women into a place that they will be released from the baggage that they're going to carry that night. And she is truly a worshiper. So Friday night, come to worship. Come to worship. Come to give all that you have to God to be able to be released. Saturday night, um I am going to mount the pulpit, and all I'm going to say is God is still downloading some things for Saturday night. um I'm still being mind blown to what God is doing and the things that He's showing me and how He's showing them to me, as far as the things that women are dealing with and the type of baggage that they deal with, but also how to bring them out. Not only that, a lot of times as women, there's a strength inside of us that we don't realize is inside of us. And sometimes we have to be pressed. God begins to press us. And so Saturday night is going to be about the pressing, how you will be in a situation, and what that situation may look like is not really what it is. It's what God shows on the other side of it. Then on Sunday night we have prophetess Trina Jones, and she's coming from Jacksonville, Florida. She's absolutely amazing. She's powerful. But Sunday night is about prayer and exhortation. This is really about engaging the women that's going to be there, that it's time Sunday night for the women to even tap into God themselves. If men is there, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm not opposed to men coming to the conference, because there's men that carry baggage too. So even for the men that show up, Sunday night, it's about prayer and exhortation. Come in, and not just for somebody to stand over you and pray over you. Come in to pray yourself. Come in to be able to pray your own heart out. Come in to be able to be walked through the process of prayer through prayer and exhortation, because oftentimes there's a part in conferences that's missed as far as the engaging. And so Sunday night, what God has given me, this is not about preaching at people, yelling at people, and all of those things. It is about people going in and engaging themselves and engaging God through prayer and exhortation. So you don't want to miss either night.
Awesome. I'm looking
You want to
forward
be
to it.
present for every single night.
Yeah, I'm definitely, a couple years ago when you had the first annual, I was one of the panel guests, and I mean, I had an amazing time, and just to hear all the other ladies that were on the panel, their story, and what they went through to how they're striving, and just connecting with other people that were there as well too. It was very powerful. And then when your mom came up and started preaching, girl, that was, I mean, amazing. And the other young lady that also, I think she sang there. So yeah, I mean, I went home, I had like, goosebumps, and, feel, rejuvenated. And I was like, wow, okay. So I encourage, everyone, if you can, to check out what's in your purse. Trust me, you will not regret it. Now, Lady Q, you have accomplished so many things. What's next on the agenda?
Oh my goodness. What God has laid on my heart is there's a workshop in the works, and I don't want to give too much information, but there's a workshop in the works, because again, I also said that I do believe therapy is good for the men and women of God because of the things that we go through. And so the Lord has given me a workshop, and I am working with some Christian based therapists that we're getting ready to join together to bring this workshop forward, along with certain people that have some really great tools, life coaches that have some really great tools, and will definitely it's not just therapy, because the people are going to engage for themselves. This is not just somebody standing in front of you talking. This is you coming in that's willing to do your work. You got to be willing to do your work, and God is going to meet us there from beginning to end. So I encourage you that if you got baggage, somebody that got baggage, somebody that's going through some things, they keep going through the same cycle of things, and you have tried to help them, and other people have tried to help them, but they just keep going through the same cycle. Bring them, come with them, because not only that, it's in essence a preventative. So
Hmm.
there's tools that'll be shown to us that we can use, that'll be preventative tools, that when we go through life, certain life situations, that okay, well, I done went through this workshop, I have these tools, I know how to work this thing, I know how to do my work. Because what we fail to realize, yes, I believe in God wholeheartedly, no, God can take care of it all, but there's a work that we have to do. We have to do our own work. And so when we begin to do our own work, God will take care of the things in the spirit. So they both go hand in hand. Because also says faith without works is dead. Okay, I have the faith. If I was a diabetic, or if I was borderline diabetic, and I said, okay, I need you to pray for me because the doctor said I'm borderline diabetic. Well, what is the work that I got to do? I need to I need to eat differently. I can't be eating all the stuff I was eating. So I'm asking you to pray, but I also have a work to do. If I went to the doctor and the doctor said, okay, well, you gotta lose 20 pounds, or you gonna be considered obese, high blood pressure, all the things. And so now the work that I have to do is eating right. I can't eat what I want to eat. I have to lower the stress in my life, and I have to do the work to work out in order to lose weight. So we can't be so focused on, I'm just going to pray about it, because praying about it don't take it away. There's a work that I have to do. So the same that goes for the physical body is the same thing we got to do for the mental body. We have to do the work for our mind to have the clarity so that we are in a place where we can be fully engaged in what God would have us to do, because there's too many people out there that's functioning in ministry and they're depleted. So what God is showing me, there's so many in ministry that's depleted, that okay, I'm giving this workshop so that you don't have to be depleted trying to encourage people, and you yourself is discouraged. There's a lot of people that won't admit that. There's a lot of pastors and ministers and evangelists and just men and women of God. You're trying to encourage somebody else, but you sitting at home discouraged. You telling people not to be depressed, but you sitting at home in depression. You sitting at home in anxiety. You sitting at home eating away your sorrows. And that's just the reality of what happens to a lot of people that's doing the work of God. So we have to be in a place where we have the clarity to do the work of God. So it's time for us to do the mental work and know that in this workshop, God is going to meet us there from the beginning all the way to the end. So that's one of the big things that the Lord has placed on me, as far as what's next.
Awesome. Now we come to the end of our show, but before we go, Lady Q, can you share a few words of wisdom or advice to those who are holding on to baggage, and why it's so important to not only attend this event, but to release that baggage from within?
Mm. Um, this is what I'll say. It's important to come to the conference, um, so that you're not doing it alone. You're not by yourself trying to figure it out. You're not by yourself having to deal with trauma and issues, and you're trying to figure out, what do I do? So I encourage you to be there at the event, so you're not in the space of doing it alone. Oftentimes, we are alone and we feel lonely. Understand, loneliness is a mental state of mind. So with that being said, know that God is always, the advice is God is always with you no matter what you're going through. No matter how ugly it gets, no matter how bad it gets, you may feel like you're going through fire, but understand what fire means. Fire means that God is purifying you. You also may feel like, you're surrounded with water and you're being drowned. Understand that water is a cleansing process. Another form of advice, you may feel like that you have a desert experience, but understand that there's growth even in the desert. So, with that being said, I encourage you also to come to the conference so that God can begin to bring healing to you, to bring deliverance to you, to bring you out of that place of bondage. And why it's important to release the baggage that you have inside of you, because if you hold on to it, what can God do? If you hold on to all the baggage, what can God do? The word says, lay aside every weight that easily beset you. So again, if you're carrying the weight, how can you move forward? Because when you're carrying weight and you're being weighed down, it hinders you from moving forward. It hinders you from being able to do anything. You have to release the baggage, because when you release the baggage, then there are spaces that now God is going to begin to fill, to bring you restoration, to bring you deliverance, to bring you healing, to reconcile you back unto Him. So, with that being said, it's time to let go of everything that you have been holding on to, that have hindered you, that have brought you fear, that have held you back, that have pulled you down, that have kept you even from having a relationship with God, that has pulled you out of alignment, that have even caused you to stray away from God. It is time to let go of those things. And so to let go of those things, God fills all of those spaces with hope, love, joy, compassion, all the things that we need. He will begin to fill us with such an immense amount of love that will carry us through any situation. He will begin to strengthen us in those areas also. So it's very important to let go of the baggage and let God handle the situation, because to let go of that means the Lord to take care of it for you and you're able to move forward.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Also, where can they register for the event?
For the event, you're going to go to Eventbrite. So it's www.wip22.eventbrite.com. And it's free. It's free. So by all means, you don't have to pay for anything. Just come and let God do what God does.
Definitely. And I just shared the event page. If you on the Glow 365 Facebook page, I just shared it on there. And also at the end of the show, we're going to play the commercial, and all the details will also be on there as well too. Again, Lady Q, thank you so much for being on the show, and looking forward to your upcoming event and all the success that you have. I want to remind everyone to don't forget to check out the current issue of KO Magazine, the July, August, September issue. On the cover is Dr. Todd M. Hall, who shares being a pastor, overcoming life challenges. Other features are Raquel Gammon, who shares her journey of living beyond Graves' disease. And in our youth corner, we have Julia and Michaela, who share their views on bullying, the importance of cultural heritage, being on the radio with their grandmother, Andrea Jackson, and so much more. Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you to our guest, Coach Lady Q, and you, the viewers. I am Coach Mia, coming to you from Ocoee, Florida. And thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay safe. Continue to find your glow within the mind, body, and soul.
It's your girl, Lady Q. And I would love to invite you to What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. The date is August 12th through the 14th, and we're going to get together and we're going to release the baggage that we have been carrying. And I need you to go register. Register for the conference at www.wip22.eventbrite.com. Grab your mom, your sister, your cousin, your friend, your next door neighbor, your co-worker, and bring them with you August 12th through the 14th for What's in Your Purse Women's Conference. And I cannot wait to see you there.